Hello everyone, it's Michelle Lupton here, and today I'm going to show you how I made one of these three cards using the new Hero Arts Joann kit that's available online at joann.com. So it has the Sending Love Mail Clear Stamp Set, this Love and Floral Fancy Dies, this Hugs and Kisses Hero Transfers Set. These transfers are so much fun to use. We have the Ombre Pink to Red ink pad. We have... I'm just going to do a quick swatch of this so you can see what colours they look like. We also have this fuchsia and gold two-tone metallic spray. We have a small ink blending brush. I always have to open these up and feel them. They're all so soft when they first arrive and they're brand new. Cool. We have a red crystal mix, and we also have 8 sheets, 2 of each in cherry, azalea, candy pink and light pink. So as I said, this kit is available from joann.com. It has a value of $63 but sells for $32.99. Now, I actually made another 2 cards that are on the Hero Arts channel right now, and this panel I made specifically for one card, and I'm just showing you the tail end of me making that one right now. So I'm just popping out these letters and I'm going to use the letters on that card. So, but you'll see that of course I've got all these leftovers. So I just wanted to show you something that I did with the leftovers. So that's the first card that I made with all the lovely stripy letters. But I have this leftover piece, so I was wondering what to do with it. I originally thought I would use the flowers that are still in there, but I thought maybe I could use those letters as a stencil. So I've actually grabbed out some, this is repositionable adhesive, and I'm just getting rid of all the little bits and pieces of glue that are stuck in the middle there, because you don't want them getting in the way of the blending that I'm going to do over the top of it as I use this as a stencil. So I'm just trying to place it relatively straight, which is a little bit tricky because all of the strips are crooked, and also I didn't line up the die perfectly straight on the piece of cardstock either. So I'm trying my best, but it doesn't really matter. I mean, it's handmade. It's not meant to be absolutely perfect. Anyway, I'm taking some masking tape just to mask around the bits that are a little bit too close for comfort towards the edge of this piece, my sort of handmade stencil here. Just making sure that I don't have any little bits of glue that are stuck in the wrong place. And now I'm going to do some ink blending. So the really cool thing about this ombre ink pad is you've really got 3 ink pads for the price of 1, because you have 3 separate colours. If you look really colously, you can actually see that those colours are actually separate on the ink pad, and you'll see a bit later on in this video how those colours are actually separate on the ink pad. And what I wanted to do was create an ombre on my card as well. So each of these 4 letters in the love sentiment, I'm starting off with the palest pink towards the top of the letter. I'm going to the mid pink, which is more of a kind of a fuchsia colour, in the middle, and then towards the bottom I'm putting the red ink. Now it does look a little bit blotchy at the moment. That doesn't matter for 2 reasons. One, I'm going to go over it a little bit more to make sure that I get a sort of decent blend of those inks. And also because the red came out really dark, and I thought, oh, I really need to go over the pink at the top a little bit more because it looks like a lot more pale than I wanted to. So here I am just going back in with the pale pink at the top. But these inks, they actually sink into the cardstock over time. So even though it might look a little bit blotchy when you first apply it, it will smooth out over time. So that's one of the great things about these inks. So I'm just, making sure that I'm getting into all the little nooks and crannies, especially because this is not a stencil. It's my homemade stencil, which is 2 layers of cardstock thick, which is unusual. It's a bit thicker than a normal stencil, but I'm pulling it off, and you can see there I've done a half decent job. There is actually a little bit on the L that I've gone over the edge. So I'm just taking an eraser and seeing if I can get rid of some of the little bits of ink. The eraser's also getting rid of some of the little bits of the repositionable adhesive, but there was still a little bit right next to the L. So I've got my sand eraser here, and I'm just going over that little bit on the side of the L, and eventually it was completely gone, and I was quite happy with it. Now I decided I wanted to cut this down because even though I managed to get it comparatively straight on the piece of cardstock, I decided I wanted to go in a slightly different direction. So I thought I would pop this up onto my card base, but when I put it onto the card base, it looked a little bit lost. So I thought, oh, I might just swipe the edges of this panel with the middle pink, just to give it a little bit of definition up against the card base. But I decided that wasn't enough, so I'm going to come in and add something to the card base in a little bit. But I wanted to add a little bit more detail to my love panel here. So I pulled out some of the Hugs and Kisses Hero transfers. I've got a little sort of winding squiggly line with a heart hanging off the bottom of it, and the French Je t'aime, which means I love you. But now I'm moving on to the card base, and you can see I'm just swiping my ink pad, and you can see there is a gap between each of the colours on the ink pad, and I've just swiped on the left and the right of my card. It looks a hot mess at the moment, but when I put my panel on top, you can see it sort of borders on either side of my panel quite nicely, and just adds a little bit of sort of interesting detail there. So I'm taking the backing sheet off of these rub-ons, and I'm just using my bone folder, my Teflon bone folder, to rub them in. Now I'm actually using my fingernail or my thumbnail to rub them in. It's always good when you're taking off the plastic sheet of a rub-on to just pull it up just a little bit to check that it's all there. Now I actually found that on the Je t'aime I'd missed the dot on the top of the eye, so I'm just going back in on that lid. I just add the dot right back in there. Now I still wanted a little bit more detail here, so I've pulled out the Sending Love Mail clear stamp set, and I'm using some of the images that look like sort of cancellation stamps that you get on a letter or a card that you sent in the mail. I'm also going to be using a little postage stamp on top of the L here. And I'm using different colours from that ink pad. So I've used the red and I've used the pink in the middle. And I decided at this point, I think I need just a little bit more detail on this. Kind of going for a bit of a mixed media look, even though I'm just well, I suppose it is mixed media because I've used ink, but I'm also using the rub-ons as well. Now I decided there still wasn't enough sort of distinction between my top panel and the card base, so I thought I might mat it with a very thin sort of border of some cardstock. So I've used some of the cardstock from the kit. So this particular cardstock is the Azalea cardstock. I'm just adding it onto behind my love panel. And I'm just going to adhere that with some tape runner adhesive. Alright, so I've got my panel ready to adhere. I'm going to adhere that also to my card base with the red and pink and pale pink stripes on the side. And then I'm pretty much done with this card. I decided not to add any more details like some gems on this one, just decided to leave it flat on top. So here are the other two cards. You can have a look at how I made those on the Hero Arts channel, where I've got a video showing the process for those other two cards. So thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you back again next time. Bye.